Hey guys, thanks for checking me out. My name is Sammy McLean, also commonly referred to as SammyMac. You're watching me on hashtag Windsor Exposed.
Scrolling through my Instagram and I'm seeing your face, and my mind's spinning reluctantly all over the place. The chase isn't what's got me going, it's thinking of what we could be.
The lower part of my bones.
We do a special.
It has been a while actually, so
Been a couple months, yeah.
I know. What have you been up to recently?
Man, I've really been working on this new album.
Okay.
Really been down in what I call the dungeon in my room, which is down in the basement down there, and I'll have all the lights off listening to the instrumentals, and
Yeah.
I'll just kind of lose my mind after a little bit. I'll go, well, I need to take a step from this, but I've been working hard on that. And just hanging out with friends, really enjoying moment to moment.
Okay.
That's, me, that's how I live. So.
Yeah. And one of my friends actually went intensely into his book and ended up going to the hospital because he was so adept into his art.
I'm like handpicking the beats and making sure that everything's cohesive. It's basically my baby, which I've never done before. But after a couple months, the album takes a different shape.
Yeah.
The project really it becomes something you didn't think it originally was going to. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm just trying to make sure what fits and what doesn't.
I mean, judging from the fact that this is going to be your second or third album?
This will be the third.
See?
Yeah.
Third album.
Third.
It's quite obvious that you know what you're doing at this point. So,
Well, I like to think so, yeah.
Okay. Were you always a musician, or is this something that came around recently?
Well, music's always been the #1 passion in my life. From a young age, there's videos and pictures of me singing Phantom of the Opera when I'm an infant. Wearing the mask, the whole 9 yards. My influences stem in so many areas as far as that aspect. So music's always been around in my life. As far as being a musician, I guess I was a singer when I was younger. I remember I think it was 5th grade, we had to do some kind of performance for like a school play, or they actually had me like in the front choir of the class because they recognized that I had a pretty decent voice. I was actually the only guy in the front 5. And me and my mom, when I was younger, we did a lot of singing of songs, particularly her. She still does it all the time in the car. I'm a little bit more shy, which is funny, but I've been singing since I was a kid. And then probably around high school, probably around 18, I've always been a big student of hip-hop as a genre, but probably around 18, probably around 2010 was when I started to think, what if I were to try out this rap game, because I feel like I've always been a pretty decent writer.
Okay.
But I learned the ins and outs. At first I wasn't that good, and then I took a couple years off, and then really got into it. So as a musician, maybe 6 years I've been in the game.
Jesus.
But as far as a love of music, it's been there since birth.
I don't know much about you, but I'm confident enough that I don't need to scout you. And I promise on my life that I
Can I do like 3 for hip-hop and then 3 for other genres?
You can pick one from each one.
Okay, because that's real tough. As far as hip-hop goes, I guess my main influence in music, period, would be Tupac. I've got 2 posters of him in my room. He's not only been a huge influence on me from music, but just as a person. Really taught me a lot about respecting yourself and being respected by your peers and how to gain that. I think he was an extremely intelligent person. Another huge influence, I've listened to a lot of Pink Floyd in my days. I think Pink Floyd might be the best band of all time. They were just unbelievable in my opinion. I'm really heavily influenced by Jay-Z. I think Jay-Z is great.
Okay.
And then I guess just modernly it would be Kendrick. Like Kendrick, I really vibe with him.
He's a good artist, man.
He's amazing. So those are probably the big influences for sure.
Well, that's a mix. That's a mix, man. That's a mix. I'm sure you're holding back on a bunch of other artists.
I have to hold back. There's a ton. There's a lot. Okay.
Tell me who's provoking you. You didn't do what you're supposed to do. Working so hard, now you feel like you're dead. And there's no telling what a ghost will do. Yeah, I'm feeling real coastal too. 8 days out west, I learned the truth from the fountain of youth. I'm 23 now, I feel my prime flying past me while I sit in this room. Think about grade school, they taught you where to act, and they say not to be bad, and you taught you to be jacked, and I taught me how to rap. They tried to fill the gap and put your face on a plaque. You're gunning for the honor roll, thinking, man, where the fuck did my summer go? Always the same length, you just didn't pay attention. But I guess sitting on your PC is better than detention. You just wanna be mentioned from the get-go. You didn't expect dissension, grasping for retention. But I'm from a city that's hurting with a fucking recession when it took people's pension. All the marbles in the auto, crowded in a street, kinda like a grotto. King of the dub last week, yesterday and today. MAC, see you tomorrow. Everything is relative. Couple beers on the patio with relatives. Lot more laid back than I used to be. Tried to make life easy, ruthlessly. Now I'm in a weird spot. I could date no girls or I could date 20. And I'm not trying to be funny. Don't talk to me if your only love in life is money. Got a model's number, run a red-eye flight. Cause I'm a fucking Jedi Knight. All it took was pen and napkin and some shut-eye light. Now she's full of all the hard eyesight. What's the point, man? I got commitment issues. It's so superficial. Want a girl who loves baseball, but that thinking is wishful. Until then, I'm blissful. Man, I'm just looking for a fun dive. This is how we've been rolling since the 1-5. Overwhelming 20s trying to stay alive. Selfish notions and a sky-high sex drive. And you never thought your boy could do cloud rap. But now I'm bringing the crowd back. Sit back, try to measure my yardage. Here's what I think your hashtag flow garbage.
Jesus. This guy pulled something out of his dome that should not be released unless it's on stage, bro. Whoa. How do you release like that?
Well, when I actually freestyle off the top of the dome, it's very difficult, I find, because you need to be in a certain state of mind, you know, a certain state of mind.
Okay.
Which I'm not in now, for the record. Just came from work. Most of it's off a song called Your Overwhelming 20s. And that's going to be on the next record, which I think is going to be a really big one, because when it's sped up, it's really fast.
Jesus.
But as far as when I do it off the top of the head, it's really, it's difficult, but it's a lot of fun, because it's one of those things where, the cliche is practice says perfect, but literally the more you freestyle with no written stuff, you're able to grab ideas, and you'll find that time's not passing you by as fast, so you're able to stay in rhythm. And but as far as going to that different place, like with that energy, it really just, you become a different person. Like I say all the time, how SammyMac is kind of this energy that I channel to make music, because SammyMac I find is a pretty different person from me. Eminem talks about Slim Shady, and Slim Shady apparently is this crazy person. SammyMac's more, he's the cooler version of me. He gets the women, he's not afraid to approach them in public, whereas I'm the complete opposite. So I go to a different place, and becoming SammyMac is really a fun thing for me, and that, like I said, that enables me to channel the creative energy that I have, and that's how I go there. Lil Dicky brought something up actually not long. I don't know if you know who Lil Dicky is. I think a decent amount of people do. He's really funny. But anyway, he's actually a really good lyricist, a good rapper. And he brought something up on the Breakfast Club interview. He said he thinks hip-hop's a little bit too buddy-buddy right now. And I kind of agree with him on that. More so on the premise that I'm a pretty competitive guy. In Windsor, I really keep my eye out, and I really take a look at who's talented and who's really stepping up and making a name for themselves, who's well known in the town. And just so I kind of know who my competition is, but at the same time, it's love, you know what I mean? Like I've worked with you, I've worked with Hunter Ing, I've worked with Con R, you know, he operates mostly out of London, but I've worked with Matty T, of course, close friend of mine. So I've worked with some talented kids in town, but you know, there was a good quote from Miles Cushman. And, you know, there was an article on him in the Windsor Star not long ago, and he had a quote in there. He said, you know, if you don't think you're number one in the town, then you're doing it wrong. And I really agree with that. I thought that was a smart thing for him to say. You can definitely ride the fine line of going after number one and thinking you're number one, but at the same time having respect for your artists in the community and not putting anybody down and really just trying to help each other by doing features and things like that. But have the competitive nature to try to be number one. More people, I think, are starting to chase number one, but I don't think enough. I think the competitive nature, basically, I think if I could change about hip-hop, I would want that to be around.
Okay, yeah. Okay. This guy wants to go back to guerrilla wars. Okay, all right.
No guerrilla wars, no beefs or anything. You know, we learned from that in the past, but competition, it's good. It's very healthy. First off, disclaimer. I hate Chuck E. Cheese, and it just stems from this experience I had when I was 4 years old. I was at some kind of birthday party, and I think as a giant train, all of us were going through the jungle gym, through the slides, up the stairs, through the ball pit, whatever it was, having a grand old time, and I ended up at the end of the train for whatever reason. So we all go down the slide, and me as a kid, I was a scared kid, first off. I was frightened by quite a bit. Being away from my parents, being away from whatever stuffed animal I had. But when I get down the slide, everybody that's in my party is gone. And I look around left, where the hell did they go? Then I start panicking. And then I start crying. I walk up to the desk, the customer service desk, and say, I don't know where and my parents weren't there, right? It was my buddy's parents or whatever that was there. I don't know, it was 4, I don't know, a close friend would have been, but walk up, my party's gone, yada yada. So they made an announcement over the PA. It wasn't that big a deal. It actually wasn't that scary, but I remember being terrified as it happened because that was one of my biggest fears, was getting lost and not knowing where I was and would I ever get back to the people that cared about me. So, I mean, I was 4.
That's my point.
Clearly, if I had a brain to put 2 and 2 together, I probably would have found them in about 20 seconds.
My God.
And that's probably the amount of time it took for them to get to the customer service desk, but in hindsight, it seems like an hour.
Sammy Mac, it's been a pleasure. Honestly, I'm glad I had you on the show. You're about to lose my shit right now. You have no idea, okay? This guy, he taught me the ways of music, he allowed me to develop rhythm, and he's added me into his future project, the one that he has dived into so deeply that people are worried of his existence. You need to check his Facebook, you need to check his Twitter, and you need to check his Instagram, okay guys? Till next time in Windsor, exposed. SammyMac.
Thank you.